Good evening and welcome to the Pondwater Dave Show. I am your host, Pondwater Dave. Joined with me, as always, is the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn.
Hello, hello.
And tonight we have a very special guest. This is the man that is responsible for me being involved in pro wrestling now. And with a humble brag, I made it to the Southern Wrestling Hall of Fame 1 year before he did. That's how good he is at finding talent. He's a former pro wrestler. He's a former manager. He's the former promoter of Southwest Premier Wrestling. I mentioned he's the Southern Wrestling Hall of Famer. He is also he was also number 500 in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500.
What year?
2006.
Awesome.
Please welcome to the show, Mr. Mike Paige. Pocket Aces Paige, if you will.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for coming on tonight, Mike.
Another day, just still living up the Stars game from last night.
Man, how great was that?
That was great, but Fogino being down and kicked out of the game was the best.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they kicked him out of the game to save his life or to calm him down?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, I listened to them talk about his penalty, and when I saw it, and I don't think it was a misconduct, and I hate the guy. So, I mean, it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt my feelings to see him gone. But
Who did the Stars play? I'm a non-hockey watcher. Sorry.
the Minnesota Wild, who are an incredibly dirty team.
Oh, okay.
We have one guy named Dumba, who now we affectionately refer to as Dumbass.
Okay.
Can't spell Dumbass without Dumba.
I think I saw you post something on Facebook or Twitter about that, and I didn't know who that person was.
Well,
Okay.
He took out Pavelski in the first game of the series, gave him a concussion. I mean, he skated yesterday, so maybe he'll be back. And then, and how do you say the guy's name?
I don't know.
Foligno.
Foligno.
I call him Fellatio now because he sucks. He was headhunting like crazy. And the other night, he left his feet. He says he got hit with a stick, but you can see on slow-mo that the stick didn't get him. But he missed the guy that he was trying to headhunt, and he ended up eating the wall. So he's in the penalty box for tripping. I'm not sure how they came up with tripping. But he's got blood running down his face where he got busted open, and he's in the penalty box. So then this doofus the other night, he takes out Fosca. It was almost like a knee to knee injury. I mean, knee to knee contact. Fosca was down. I'm sure just Charlie horsed his leg because he was back pretty quick. The Wild claims that the Stars dive every chance they get. So if he dove, well played, Fosca. But anyway, they put him in the box. They called for a misconduct. I mean, a 5-minute major. When they do that, you can review the play. If you only do a 2-minute, you can't review it. Okay. They did the 5-minute, reviewed it, and then decided to keep it as a 5-minute major with a game misconduct. So 2 minutes into the game, this asshole's out.
Oh.
But I think it's because he's not playing hockey. He's trying to hurt people.
He's the goon. He's the goon on that team.
Really.
Oh, okay.
And hey, I love a hockey goon. The general manager of that team was one of my favorite goons, Bill Guerin. So
now, is this because I saw Mike Bober, a friend of the show, he had posted his team is out, right? He likes the Penguins.
Oh yeah.
So they're out. So is this kind of like you're in the tournament now?
Yeah, we're in the first round of the playoffs.
So I don't know how okay, you're in the playoffs. Okay.
We're up 3-2.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, Bober's team hadn't missed the playoffs in 17 years, and
and they missed, huh?
They missed the playoffs and fired everybody.
Oh, well,
like y'all got to go. We don't.
We don't miss the playoffs. Okay, well, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, and so anyway, me and Mike, we have a tradition right before every game. We'll do an F-bomb to somebody that we mutually don't like. Then we'll say go Stars, F so and so, and Russ is a bitch.
Russ is a bitch.
And who is Russ?
Russ was on the show a few weeks ago, Amy.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You three are the trios champion.
Yes.
Right? Yes. I want to make sure for our audience out there, I want to make sure everybody is,
Well,
got
everybody
it.
knows Russ is a bitch.
Russ, that's right. Russ was with us. Yes. I don't know him well enough to say if he's a bitch or not. So I'll just stay mute.
I love the hashtags
neutral.
that this producer's throwing up. That's greatness.
I know. We have a great producer.
Let's bring her in. Let's bring her in and welcome her.
So did you ask her first?
No, she's yelling no. No, Russ is a good guy. I mean, we call him bitch affectionately. But anyway,
you can tell him who our new producer is, I guess.
The lovely and talented Stephanie Miller, my wife,
Mrs. Pondwater.
Mrs. Pondwater, Tippy, if you will,
is going to do she's going to be the magic behind the show.
Yeah, so behave in the chat, Ed. Welcome to our live audience. As always, we're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. Eddie Prather's rolling with us. We got Johnny T, our good friend Johnny T. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yo.
JD's en route. He's behind. He wasn't able to make our call time tonight.
But he'll be here.
He said he's going to jump in when he gets here. So, Amy, why don't you kick us off with a little trivia?
I can definitely do it. First, can I give a shout out to someone real quick?
No.
Okay. So I want to shout out on my lovely shirt here is the Jacob Pritchard's Wrestling Academy. I got it from Dr. Tom. And I want to say I just got his book in the mail. And look, it says to my favorite Amy, Dr. Tom. This is a complete 1-year training curriculum and guide for beginners and seasoned pros. It is so, now I'm not going to become a wrestler of no means, but it is super cool about how it just goes through. And it just has, again, it just talks about, it has some stories, but it gives you like, Thursday, live event, do your, it just has all these different things to do, helping with the ring, just really cool. And I've been to the academy. It's a really neat setup, and I was really happy to get this book in the mail. So I wanted to encourage anybody that was ever curious. This would be a great addition if you're a pro wanting to get into wrestling, or just, see what Dr. Tom, the person who, helped train Kurt Angle and The Rock and countless others, see what he has to say. So thank you.
Dr. Tom's one of the best.
Yes. And he's
Dr.
very
Tom
nice.
For the last 18 years. He finally agreed with me. But Dr. Tom has a Texas belt that he was using in Tennessee. He was saying he was a Texas champion stuck in Tennessee. He had the world-class belt with the blue paint scheme. While I had the original red.
Oh.
And I always told him that the red was the better paint scheme.
Yes.
And this has gone on for several years. And then we met up at WrestleCade. Both of us had our belts, and we got a picture. Both holding our belts. And when we were done, he said, "Yeah, I think you're right."
Oh, awesome. And like I said, Dr. Tom is very nice. So I wanted to give him a shout out.
Best.
Yes. And I loved watching him with the students because it's amazing. I mean, it's why he does what he does, but he watched these two guys have a match, and then he walked back through it, or he stopped them and said, it would try this. It'd be better if you did this little thing. And it just, watching him work was kind of like an artist, watching them paint and how they can put things together. So Mr. Mike Pondwater told me that you were a fan of Japanese wrestling.
Yes.
Okay. So I have put together some trivia about one of the greatest known Japanese wrestlers, the Great Baba.
Oh,
we're screwed.
Yes.
New Japan than all Japan. That's the thing.
Okay. Well, you know what? It was either going to be Baba or Inoki. So I'm kind of glad I went Baba because that's going to be You know, it's good to learn things, right? It's good to
Right.
learn things. All
We'll
right.
learn. We'll learn through our failures tonight.
Exactly. And I'm going to try my best. I listened. A friend of ours told us with pronunciations to listen, like on YouTube or whatever, on how to say it. And I did, but I'm afraid I may still botch some of these. So I apologize up front.
We'll never know.
Well, but maybe some of our Japanese listeners may know, or Japanese wrestling fans will know. So I just want to give that up front. All right. So the great Baba was born in January 1938. He was diagnosed with gigantism early in his life. He was said to wear a size 34 shoe. What was the great Baba's build height? Now, Mike, I do give you choices. So
Okay.
I didn't say that earlier. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Is it A, 7 feet tall, B, 6 feet 7 inches tall, C, 6 feet 10 inches tall, or was he D, 7 feet 1 inches tall? How tall?
I'm gonna go
Go
with
ahead.
6'10".
Pondwater?
I'm going with 7'1" because 7'4" was in my head for some reason.
Well, I think 7'4" was Andre the Giant, is what he was billed at. But Mike, you are correct. He was billed at 6 feet 10 inches.
Wow.
Now, what is the average height of a man in Japan per the 2016 data on the Healthline website? Is it 5 feet 7 inches, 5 feet 10 inches, 5 feet 4 inches, or 6 feet? The average
I'll go
height.
with 5'4".
I'm going to go with 5'7".
Pondwater, you are correct. It is 5'7". This is according to the NCD Risk Factor Collaboration. They showed the average heights of men born between 1918 and 1996. And it was a population-based study in 15 countries.
I
According
cannot
to
wait to go to Japan.
according to hold on. According to the study, the tallest out of the 15 countries was the Netherlands, who boast an average height of 6 feet. And the shortest were the Philippines, which shows an average height of 5'4". So you might be a giant in the Philippines if you wanted to go there. So I'm just letting you know your options. Okay.
Hey, but we hear all the time from Lance that Lance comment will tell us about his sleeping arrangements in Japan. Those beds aren't made for somebody his size.
Oh,
No.
I can only imagine. Well,
I
and
mean,
I don't think I put this in our trivia, but the great Baba's funeral was delayed because they could not find a coffin big enough for him. You know, so just like you were saying, I'm sure Lance. Are you talking about Lance Archer, Lance Hoyt? Is that
Lance
what you
Archer,
said?
yeah.
So I can only imagine the accommodations for them and different things when they have to go to Japan. So the
I'm
great
highly competitive, so we're 1-1 right now, right?
yes. Oh Lord, I hadn't been keeping track, so I'm sure you are, right? We'll do instant replays. Are we gonna have to do all that kind of stuff? So the great Baba is well-known figure in the pro wrestling world, but did you know he also played professional baseball? What position did Baba play on the field? Was he the first baseman, pitcher, catcher, or shortstop? Oh, I like that, Stephanie. He played baseball, professional. He played professional baseball.
I've never heard that he did that.
Yep. What position did he play?
Well, he wasn't catching because the average height is 5'7".
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was designed to pop like 3 people. I hope they get it.
What are the
I'm
choices
guess he
again?
was a pitcher.
First base, pitcher, catcher, or shortstop?
I'm gonna go with pitcher because he's got that height, and there's this. By the time he gets that ball off of the mound, he's so so much closer to the plate. That would be dangerous.
And being so big, he's kind of lumbering, so he really wouldn't have to. I don't think he'd be that effective anywhere else, and he damn sure ain't catching. So I'm gonna go with pitcher also.
You are both correct. He was a pitcher. He actually dropped out of high school to play professional ball. He played for the it's Y I don't even want to say it. It's YOMIURI. Yomari Giants. He played from 1955 to 1959.
The Giants. You gotta love it.
And the Tayo Whales. He played for 1 year, 1960. So after he retired from his baseball career, he began training in the Japanese Pro Wrestling Alliance dojo, along with who? A Japanese immigrant who, is it Ricky Dozen? I hope I said that right. Met during a trip to Brazil. Ricky Dozen. Sorry, your Dozan. I want to say it right. Was it Antonio Inoki, Jumbo Tsuruta, Tor Kamada, Mitsu Momota? And I can spell anything for you if you need me to. I'm very sorry.
I go with Inoki because I think they were kind of together early in their career.
And then they split. That's where All Japan and New Japan.
New Japan
I agree with Mike on that one.
That is correct. It is Inoki, and that is exactly, you are correct about that. One found All Pro or All Japan, and one did New Japan. All right. Speaking of promotions, what promotion did the great Baba co-found? Was it the International Wrestling Enterprise, All Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or Universal Wrestling Federation?
All Japan.
All Japan.
You are both correct. It is the All Japan Pro Wrestling. And just like you both were saying, they both trained together. And then after the Japanese Pro Wrestling Alliance, after that kind of dissolved in 1972, two new promotions were actually, it said Inoki was fired. So I don't know. I don't get into all that. But Inoki was fired, and then Baba decided not to renew his contract. They both went their separate ways. All right. The top title in All Japan Pro Wrestling was the PWF World Heavyweight Championship. What did PWF stand for? Was it Professional Wrestling Federation, Pacific Wrestling Federation, Pro Wrestling Fandom, Pacific Wrestling Fighters? What did PFW stand for? PWF. I'm so sorry.
Pacific Wrestling Federation.
That is correct. That was the name of the governing body for all future titles for All Japan. The first PWF chairperson was Lord James Blears, who was a British wrestler and scout for All Japan. He
later became an announcer for Vern Gagne on the AWA broadcasts.
Who did?
Lord James Blears was also an announcer for the AWA.
Oh, cool.
Later in his career.
I was going to say he introduced the British Bulldogs to All Japan. One of his things. So cool. So I guess he kind of had it set up like the NWA, you know, the way the NWA was kind of a governing body. All righty. How many times did the great Baba win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship?
I'm going to say 2.
Do you want me to give you the choices?
Yeah, we got to give them choices first.
Okay. Well.
It's 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Well, now that I've had those options, I'm going to go with 2.
Okay.
2.
That is incorrect. It was
Is
3.
it just 1? Was it
Nope,
3?
it was 3.
Well, 1 didn't count.
What do you mean 1 didn't count?
I think they didn't recognize one of them, but
Well, you know how when Flair would go over
Johnny
there and stuff.
Johnny T said once and it didn't count, and I didn't count, but
Okay. I'll
I
tell
thought it
you
was 2,
what
but
I found, and you all it
no,
was
you're
all
right.
well.
I'm
No,
not, this ain't WrestleMania 17 all over again with the attendance.
I
I
want
mean,
to make sure
I
I'm
know
correct.
you're right.
You're ornery. I'll just tell you, they were all in. Okay, let me finish my questions, and
Go ahead.
maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, so I have 3, and I'll tell you where I got them from. What NWA heavyweight champion did Baba beat on 2 different occasions to win the title? So there was one NWA championship that he beat twice to win the to win the title.
That was
Was
Harley
it?
Race.
Do you want the options or no?
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm just showing off. If I say it with confidence, everybody thinks I'm right.
Is it Jack Briscoe, Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, or Harley Race?
I go with Harley.
All right. You are both right. So this is what I saw. The Great Baba won his first championship December 2nd, 1974 by defeating Jack Briscoe. He defeated Harley Race twice to win the title. First time was October 31st, 1979, and then again on September 4th, 1980. And all of these were in Japan. All these title matches.
Did you say Harley Rice?
Well, I don't think I can hear myself somehow. I don't know if it's Stephanie or whatever. And so it's kind of throwing me off. So I may have said, I didn't mean to say Rice, but I have a lot of feedback. I don't know where it's
I know.
coming
It was
from.
unintentional racism. I love screwing with Amy.
Anywho,
She'll get half hot. It makes for a great podcast. She's only quarter hot right now.
that's right. That's right. So, how many total days did the Great Baba hold the NWA championship, heavyweight championship? Was it 19 days, 39 days, 59 days, or 99 days? How many total days did he hold the NWA heavyweight title?
19.
I'm going to say it was 19 also because I'm thinking that he won it one week and dropped it the next.
Typical tours of Japan.
Just around the horn.
That is correct. It was 19. So his first 2 reigns, so the first time he beat Jack Briscoe and then the second time was against Harley Race, his reigns lasted. What are you doing? Why are you laughing? Half hot. People reading that might not understand. They might think I'm half hot, half ugly. No. Okay. So his first 2 reigns lasted 7 days. And his last reign only lasted 5. So all wins and losses took place in Japan, and basically he would win the title and lose it back in the rematch, which was done, like you said. All right, this should be good. This is the last question.
We had a good time this night. Johnny T's commenting. We had a nice dinner. Enjoyed the hockey game.
When was this?
Before COVID, I think a couple months. Well, maybe a couple months before COVID, maybe.
Yeah, it was before COVID.
I know it was before, but.
So did the Stars win?
You know, we had such a good time. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
That's when you know you had a good time, right? You don't even remember that. All right. This is a fill in the blank. You don't get the options, okay? So
I was laughing at the chat. I'm sorry, I looked at the chat.
So don't want to say Japan. Oh, Lord.
It's like somebody turned on the signal. We talked about Japan and he appeared.
We love you, James. Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
My good close personal friend, little Jimmy Sorensen. Been a guest at the
Oh,
Holiday Inn.
Allison. Mwah, I love you.
Wow. We're having big time attendees in the chat tonight.
Awesome. Okay, not only was the Great Baba a wrestler and a promoter, Stephanie. Not only was the Great Baba a wrestler and promoter of All Japan Pro Wrestling, he was a trainer in the dojo. Can you name one of his first students who we have discussed here on the show on episode 19, When Crackheads Attack? That was the name of the episode. We talked about one of his first students.
Well, I didn't even listen to that show, so I have.
Oh, you have the opportunity, Pondwater, to take the lead.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
This is the last question.
Jumbo
There's no
Saruta?
options here.
No, this is fill in the blank.
Oh,
There was no blank really. It was a question.
Who? I said, can you name? Can you name one of his first students who we have discussed here on the show on episode 19, When Crackheads Attack?
can you give me a hint on what wrestling we talked about on that episode?
I can. We were talking about Texas death matches.
Oh, did he train Stan Hansen?
How about Misawa? I'm just throwing that out there. Kobashi.
Inoki?
Nope.
Tenru.
No.
Eddie says Tenru.
Nope.
I know I'm going to want to kick myself when I hear this. Muda's not that old. Was it Kabuki?
Nope.
Killer Khan?
No. It was Atsushi Onida.
Onita.
Oh,
Onita. I'm sorry. Onita.
Oh, death
Started
match.
at Sushi Onita. And I call him Onita, and I'm afraid I'm going to make it for us. Yes.
Johnny T got a picture with Onita at WrestleCon.
Oh, cool. Yes, he is one of the innovators of Japanese deathmatch wrestling. And we talked about him because he ended up having his own promotion. He was one of Great Baba's first students.
right. I've actually seen Baba wrestle twice.
You did?
Yes.
In where? Tell us
He came to
about
World
it.
Class,
I saw him
didn't
at the inaugural Crockett Cup in '86. He tag teamed with Tiger Mask. And they were
Interesting.
eliminated by Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin.
Who Tiger Mask get pinned?
Yeah, he did a flying body press, and Magnum caught him in midair and turned it into a belly-to-belly suplex. Go out of your way to find a clip of that. It was freaking incredible. And then
That's right.
And then Inoki appeared in World Class in 1983 at the International Star Wars card that we're coming up on the anniversary of.
Oh,
We're coming up
cool.
on the 30th anniversary. We'll have to do a show on that in May.
Yes, in May. Yes, we will. Yes, remember the firecracker fire in the hole match.
Yeah.
The Great Baba passed away on January 31st, 1999 in Tokyo at the age of 61, and he had colon cancer. So next time, Mike, I will try to do Inoki and not the Great Baba. I hope but honestly, you all knew quite a bit. I mean,
And
it
what
was
we didn't
pretty-
know, we learned.
And exactly. So appreciate you all doing the trivia. Hope it was educational. Jimmy, I have not seen the Great Muda wrestle live.
He was Super Black Ninja when I saw him.
I saw him in WCW.
I mean, I saw him. He was Super Black Ninja. I don't think it was world class. I mean, it wasn't still world class. It might have been global at that point, or USWA.
Well, hey, Terry has his little boy on here. Hi, Cyrus. How are you?
Cyrus?
Glad to have you.
Let's give a shout out to our audience. We got T-Weave. We got Little Jimmy Sorensen, Eddie. We got Allison Faye.
We had Bobby. He was on here.
Bobby popped in. We got our good friend connecting people through wrestling. Y'all see him at ringside with the big yellow frame.
Oh,
He
yeah.
makes a lot of, and he truly connects people through wrestling. I think I actually have him on my screensaver because I can see him in the crowd from the.
Hi.
I can see him through the crowd from that wide angle shot when I was in the ring at Flair's last match.
Yes. Andy Bolger. Is that how you? Hopefully
Bolger's here.
I may just have to stop pronouncing things because I'm terrible. So.
Ben's here.
Ben Jones.
Ben Jones.
He is he's the reason why we are accelerating in Australia up the charts.
We're over down under.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Very, very much so.
Somebody asked, was I over in Japan? In my mind, I am.
So if it's okay, Pondwater, I want to ask Mike some questions because obviously you know a lot about him and you have told me some very fascinating things just from the introduction, that he's been a wrestler, he's been a promoter, he got you in wrestling, he's a belt mark. I mean, I want to ask him some questions that you probably already know. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. We met our first interactions together were because of wrestling belts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because of the chat? Were you on a chat? Not chat, but whatever.
Well, it's a little different. First. I mean, because I was buying his belts through Russ.
Oh. Okay, stop.
Then we didn't go ahead. We're so close together, and then
Okay, yes. So, Mike, I want to know everything about how you got into wrestling. Like, what age did you start writing? Where are you from? Like, what are you like? Pondwater and WCCW was your jam. What were you watching, and what interests you in wrestling?
So, I started. Me and my dad would watch wrestling. ESPN had AWA on Fridays, and he was the biggest Sergeant Slaughter mark out there. And then we would watch World Class on Saturdays. So that's what I got. But I didn't really get into WWF, WWE, whatever until a lot later. And then some of the small shows were on. I remember like ICW from back in the day. I remember Vince Torelli before he was Ken Shamrock, and then Chris Chavez before it was Tatanka. So I had seen some of that before. And then we got Mid-South a little bit because I'm so close to Shreveport. We got Mid-South. So I knew some of that.
Okay, cool. So who was your favorite? Your dad was a Sergeant Slaughter mark, but who was your favorite growing up?
Ric Flair, and my dad absolutely hated Ric Flair. We don't know why. We never know why.
You never knew why. He just knew he just did not like him. So
my friends would come over and they would joke about it. And he goes, "Oh man, F that guy." You know, it's like screw Ric Flair.
So when did you start thinking, or when did you kind of start getting into the business? What happened first for you?
So this was funny because Joey Corman and Chip Riggs got me into it. I was at Hastings one day, which is a local books, music, wrestling store, or not wrestling, but books, music, video, stuff like that. And I was reading a wrestling magazine. And back in the day, they were promoting a show here in Tyler where they were training. And what a sneaky way what we would do is we would drop a flyer for the wrestling show in all the wrestling magazines. And they saw me wrestling. They're like, "We got to go to a show in Lufkin that day. You want to go to the show? You want to help with the ring or whatever here in Tyler?" And that had Terry Gordy, Rod Price, and a few other guys there. Well, me and Canyon were the only two ring crew guys there. Really? So I ended up just doing ring crew and security for it was SSOW Tom Lance. So I did that got on because I was in the right place, right time, and did some shows with them. and then I trained basically referee with Joey and them and some other guys down in Lufkin.
So how old do you think you were at that time?
Let's see, that was 97, so about 25, 26 somewhere.
Okay. Okay. So you were setting up the ring crew, learning to be a referee, and so then when did you move into the actual ring as a performer?
I would say it was 97, that I do remember.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing shows with this group out of Lufkin, the TWA, and I started off as a referee with them.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you're kind of going back and forth. When did you, so that's 97. When did you meet? No, let's go back. When did you start collecting belts?
I would say probably about a year before that.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember I bought a Texas belt first that we used in Lufkin for that 90, in 97. So it was about before that. And I got with Russ because J-Mar had some sale on belts and was taking years. And I think he was waiting on one at the same time.
Who is Jay? I'm sorry. Someone who was a belt maker? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Joe Marshall, yeah, J-Mar.
Oh, okay. And so then that's how you and Russ, I don't know you very well, so I'm not going to say you're a bitch. So I'm just going to call you Russ. So when did you and Russ get to know each other?
Somewhere in that time frame between 96 and 97. That was back in the old AOL days. We would get in the AOL messenger chats and stuff.
Okay, cool. So did they have specific messenger chats about wrestling belts, or was it like wrestling?
No, it just
memorabilia or just wrestling.
The guy that was like the middleman, kind of like, hey, you should talk to this guy or talk to this guy or something like that.
So how many belts do you think you have
right now?
Yes.
71.
Okay, very specific. What was the most recent belt you got? Oh, we get to see it. Ooh.
New Japan King of Pro Wrestling.
Who did that belt for you? If you, I mean, anything you don't want to tell, just say no.
Muhammad Asif.
Okay, that's who you get a lot of your belts from, isn't it, Dave?
No, I use Muhammad Zubair.
Okay.
But I haven't. I call him Asif, but I didn't know I was saying it wrong.
Oh, okay.
In Mississippi, we call him Asif. But no, I've got some of his belts too. He's a very good belt maker. I just have a really good relationship with Zubair.
Okay.
So, there's probably 10 real belt makers in Pakistan. Yeah, there's like 90 some aliases. I'm sure some of them are the same people.
So what's your favorite belt that you have?
The big gold, the crew mine.
Ooh, is it somewhere where you can show it?
we live for this. See,
the big gold.
The groups. We didn't have belt groups on AOL, but we did on Yahoo. There was the Yahoo belt groups where we got it all started.
Oh, and it's next to Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you have a name?
Roku.
Baby Yoda is better. Do you have a nameplate on it or anything, or is it? I didn't know.
Ric Flair.
Oh, Amy, that was so stupid. That's your favorite. I'm slow sometimes. I didn't think about that.
Ami made yours, didn't he? Your big gold?
The what?
Did Ami make your big gold?
Yeah.
And your first one was a Texas belt. Is that what you said? The first belt you got was one that you were using?
Yeah, it was a white Texas belt, kind of like the Intercontinental design of the 90s.
That's the one that Mike Fox had, that one?
No, Justin Bell has it, and then Sid Sexy.
No, I'm saying, did Mike Fox hold it, though?
Probably. It was used in like 25 promotions.
Yeah.
Cool. So now tell us a little bit about the shirt that Pondwater's wearing. What'd you say? Southwest Premier Wrestling? Is that what it says? I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was my
promotion. Okay. Tell us about that. When did it start?
I think 99 or 2000. I didn't run that many shows in the early 2000s, and then I got a deal to do a bought show here in Tyler, so I had this big show here, and then I would just run 4 or 5 shows a year for a couple years, just to get some experience for a few guys.
Sure. So was this promotion, was it already established and you came in, or is this all of your concept?
Just all mine, yeah.
And so how many towns, you said you would run 4 or 5 shows a year?
We did. Let's see, Tyler, Longview, we did Marshall, I did Greenville, and we teamed up with a few other little towns. Athens, I think, Lufkin. Did Lufkin a few times. We had a bought show every year for like 5 years. It was called the Hoedown, which is what they do to celebrate the fair. And it was they'd close off all of downtown, and one of the radio stations would, give us a set amount to do a show, and we'd do a afternoon show as part of their promotion. They would pay to bring in names. We had Kamala one year. We had Bobby Eaton one year, Manny Fernandez one year.
Was Russ also part of the AOL chat groups? Is that how all you 3 came to be?
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
So when did you all decide you all were buying belts from each other or helping each other out? Is that?
Well, Mike was friends with Russ first. And I was familiar with his name, but Russ was selling me belts he was getting from Mike. He was trying to help Mike out, and I guess, I don't know if saying Russ was the middleman on the deals right or not. He might have bought them from Mike and sold them to me, but I was getting a lot of my belts originally belonged to Mike. And actually the first belt I ever had Reggie make for me was one that Mike had made. And I saw it on the website and had him make me one.
What website?
It was a Texas light heavyweight belt.
Oh, okay. So Mike didn't have a website. I didn't know.
No.
Okay, I got
Milliken's website.
Okay. I understand now. So when did you all decide to meet?
We did a deal. I bought that Texas Heritage belt that you really wanted to get rid of, and we kind of met in Canton halfway between Dave and me.
A restaurant called the Dairy Palace.
World famous Dairy Palace.
Yes.
24 hours a day.
What makes it world famous?
Not their Mexican food, for damn sure.
The reviews, huh?
Burgers and shakes.
If I'm not mistaken, Mike had the buffalo burger that night.
Joey, I think, had quesadillas, and I think that's when he said that the Mexican food was terrible there.
But we sat there, and I took some belts out there to show him, and then I took the belt that I was selling him. And we sat and we had dinner and we talked, and he'd tell me about him and Joey and Samir going all over for wrestling, and tried to, how horrible being on the road is, and Joey will tell you how horrible wrestling is. And
now who's Joey?
Joey Corman. Joey Corman is
Joey Corman. Oh, you mentioned him earlier. Okay.
I mean, and I'm not throwing great around loosely when I tell you that Joey Corman is a great wrestler. And anyway, after listening to them tell wrestling stories for about 3 hours, I could not wait to get into wrestling. So Paige told me to go out to PCW because he felt like it was a good school. They teach me what I needed to know, but more importantly, they do it in a way that probably wouldn't, with less chance of me getting hurt.
Okay, good.
Because there's some shady people that teach wrestling. There was, in early 2000s. It's not like it is now with so many reputable choices, but so many times you'd find an old wrestler that you'd pay him and he'd beat the crap out of you, and now you're a wrestler. And didn't teach you anything. Run off with your money. So that's how I got into wrestling. And then,
so have you two ever been on shows together?
Oh yeah, he was my manager for a while.
Okay, so
medics.
Right.
Mike is medic number 1.
Okay, you're medic.
I don't think we actually knew who was medic 1 or 2. I don't think we ever specified who was 1 or 2.
I called him one and Joey two.
So Joey was one of them, and you were one of them. So,
right.
Okay, you were the medic.
And I was the manager.
Dr.
Philip D. Payne.
Philip D.
Payne, the chief of staff.
That's right.
Yeah, he wasn't a manager, chief of staff.
So how long was this team together?
Maybe 2 years, but not that many shows.
Yeah. Year and a half, 2 years. It was over with too quick. It's the most fun I've ever had in wrestling.
And why is there not a reunion tour going on?
We all know each other, so I mean, it's not like we're just not gonna do it in wrestling.
You don't want to do like a medic tour of the different areas and stuff? No? Oh.
Well,
Mike didn't even think that was even entertain the idea. He was just like, no.
Mike ain't as young as he used to be. I mean, this was going on almost 15 years ago.
Well, that's true. Okay.
Well, we had a fourth member too. We had another manager as well.
Who was that? A nurse?
She was a nurse. Her name was Ophelia.
Oh,
my daughter, Ophelia Payne.
Ophelia Payne. Who was that played by?
My daughter.
Oh, it was. I thought you said, okay.
My daughter, Sarah.
I got you now. Okay. I've seen pictures of it, but I wouldn't have known. They all need medics now. Bless.
Well, I'm going to say the reason we were the medics, we wore a mask. Shut up, Russ. We're not old. We wore a mask because we didn't want you to know who we were, because after we beat the shit out of you, you needed medical attention. So then we get paid twice.
Right. I like it.
We made our debut in Tyler, Texas.
At Southwest Premier Wrestling, or was that?
No, it was FEW, Full Effect Wrestling.
Okay.
And I remember we were about to go out. We were doing a run in. We were going to beat up Genesis. And Christopher Hayden and Carrie Arcane. Mm-hmm. So we were going to run in, and we were going to get them. And they were wrestling. They were wrestling Robert Evans and Matthew Palmer. Okay. And because when you see, because you can find the run in and the promo, the beat down and the promo on YouTube, and you can see Palmer pulling Robert Evans, walking by, dragging him by the legs to get him to the back. But right before we went through the curtain, Mike said, "Oh, you're going to need to cut a promo. We need you to cover this, this, and this." And up until that point, I had cut no promos. I mean, closest thing to a promo I ever cut was when I yell at my brother when I cut promos on my brother when I was at him. So
how do you think you did?
Good.
I thought it was good.
And it's on YouTube?
It is. Yeah, it's funny about it because I literally take Christopher Hayden's head off with a clothesline. It was one of the best clotheslines I've seen.
Producer, is that possible for us to get that on our page? Is it? Would it be something that you copyrighted or anything?
No, we can share it. We can share a link. We'll share a link on our socials.
Yes, that's gonna be so cool.
I think if you go into YouTube and type in Medics Wrestling, it's one of them on there because I show people at work that.
Yeah, I always find it cool. Medics Tag Team.
Medics Tag Team. We will definitely have to do that for our fans. Put that out there.
And I'm not ashamed of it. My daughter said that I threw off some real dad vibes because I told him if you ever, and I was choking him with my stethoscope and I was kicking him, and we love Christopher Hayden and Carrie Arcane. And Christopher Hayden, Carrie Arcane's retired now, but Christopher Hayden's still wrestling in Texas and in Missouri, all through up in Oklahoma.
We wrestled them like so many times. We wrestled Evans and Palmer a lot of times. That was just great to work with.
Or Palmer and Gigolo.
In fact, Evans and Gigolo, because Palmer missed the show once, so Gigolo came. He cracked one of my ribs doing the whoopee cushion.
Oh no!
I don't hold it against him. It was accident.
We had a really good match in Garland, Texas, for
Akbar,
and it was at a elementary school, and it was a great crowd, and we had my daughter out there, and she threw she wasn't really good about slapping, but they fed Arcane through the ropes, and she went to go slap, and she does this little bitty alligator arm, just barely. It looked bad, and I knew it looked bad, so I shoved her. I went, "That's not how you do it. This is how you do it." And I slapped the piss out of him. I mean, absolute slap piss out of him. And he told me last year at the WrestleMania weekend, we went to the ad-free Super Show at Gillies, and he was there, and he told me that he said, "Yeah, I was hot at the time because I mean I laid into it, but it looked good." And then the crowd got hot at me because I was talking to her that way. And this woman was really giving me a hard time about it. And I just turned to her and I said, "Look, lady, I don't go to your job and interrupt you while you're yelling scattered, smothered, covered, and chunked. You need to sit down and shut up and let me do my job." And it was just, oh. So,
it was so easy to get heat at that show.
And we screwed them. But at the end, I had jumped on Hayden's back, and I had my stethoscope around his throat, and he crushed me into the corner, so I collapsed onto the apron. Well, anyway, everything happened. We won.
So one of our only wins.
So, yeah, they come around and shake me to tell me we won. So I'm rolled back in the ring, and I'm up being Jim Cornette obnoxious, right? Well, it dawns on me that my daughter and my team are on the ground, on the floor. And I'm not. I'm in the ring. And I back up, and I run into one of them. I turn around. I get kicked in the stomach, slung into the corner. I come staggering out. Christopher Hayden hits me with a clothesline from hell. It went ass over tea kettle, and I was out. And the crowd loved it, and they had to drag me out and carry me to the back. And that, man, I loved every second. And I'll never be able to thank Mike and Joey enough for bringing me in on that and just fulfilling a dream.
I could tell from your face, you reliving it, like just how much fun you have. I could tell.
You're glowing.
So, I know.
Oh, so, wait, that's the light that's shining on his big forehead there.
We could ask Stephanie if she could drop that link into the comment section, and then it'll be a live link that can be clicked on.
And in the comments, Bobby said, "I lived in Southlake from 1980 to 84. Is that where is that in Texas?
Southlake Carroll. Southlake Carroll is north of Dallas. It's
probably northwest a little bit.
Between Dallas and Fort Worth. Not in the straight line between Dallas and Fort Worth, but kind of north up a little bit.
Kind of west of Frisco. West of Frisco, kind of.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe the high school football field they have there now. It rivals most college stadiums.
I don't know. I mean, I know.
Friday the one in Allen does. You know, that one
really?
In Allen, that new one holds 60,000 fans.
Wow.
Have you ever seen it full? Like, has it? I mean.
No, but they do other things there.
Oh, like concerts or whatever, stuff like that.
I think so.
They probably fill it up at high school playoff time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard that. So I do want to ask one more question. Okay, so you went into the Hall of Fame. Which Hall of Fame did you go into, Mike?
The IHWE Southern Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay, so you went in. I know Pondwater said he went in the year before you. What was it like when you got told that you were going in? What were you thinking? Who'd you go in with?
We went in with the Overboys. It was me, Joey Corman, and Smear. We did the Overboys all over the country because we used to do Georgia and Florida, Tennessee. We traveled a bit.
Okay. So did you?
We went in the same night, but I was the class of 21. He was the class of 22.
Okay, so they were kind of
the COVID shut it down.
Right. Who inducted you?
Mike inducted me.
I meant Mike.
Oh.
Who inducted Mike?
Johnny T inducted me. One of our people listening right here, because he was in.
Oh, okay.
He was in one of the first classes. I don't know what year he can post with, but he was in one of the first ones as being a announcer and commentator.
Awesome. So is that something that, like, who votes on that particular Hall of Fame?
It's just all David Fuller. It's IHW
Okay.
that started in a backyard promotion and
Uh-huh.
kind of like a Dallas Underground type thing.
I like how humble brag keeps coming up. Well, I do think, you know what? I'm never going to be in a Hall of Fame of any sort. So I think it's really awesome that I could say I've been sitting here talking to 2 Hall of Famers in wrestling. I could say that.
Well, 3 of Johnny T's in the chat too.
Yes, he has been.
Yeah,
he has been in the chat. Yes.
He's got a wrestling room with 2 TVs, an iPad, a laptop, and everything. So he's probably got 10 things going on at the same time. New furniture.
Is Johnny into belts like you all?
He's got a few, but he's nowhere near us. He's got a few that he liked from back in the day.
Oh, look here.
Oh, there we go. There's the beat down. I think we do our finisher.
We've already done it.
Oh yeah.
Who are you? Can you tell who you're wrestling?
That's Hayden in the blue pants.
Okay.
That's me in the maroon shirt.
Pondwater, just you're a mean little thing.
Here,
I like this finish. Oh, there's that clothesline. That was that clothesline.
Now,
you ever heard of that? I think they're done it.
The referee would have been a girl. It would have been. He couldn't bump her. We'll get out the way.
What year is this? What year is this?
Let me introduce myself. I'm the chief of staff, Joe Paige, and I want to take this opportunity to introduce you, the most dominating tag team I've come along in the last 50 years. The Medics. Now you're probably wondering, why are they wearing masks? To hurt you, they get paid to treat you at the hospital the next day. December 13th, domination. I'm running prescription for tag team gold. And one thing you need to remember, if you get into the ring with my medic, they clean out swiftly with eyes, nose, and mouth. It's not TV damage. It is voluntary urination. And if you ever at any point, think that you can beat my medic, you should discontinue your career and take a psychiatric evaluation.
Awesome. What year was that, do you think?
2003. We'll just throw that out there, somewhere like that.
Late 2008.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah, it was late 2008, like probably late October, early November.
And can we answer this question exactly? Johnny T Wrestling has, if you all can read that, I'm sure. They needed a backup belt, and they asked you to send one from your collection?
Mm-hmm. That is an absolute 100% shoot.
Please tell us this story.
Okay. And a lot of this really isn't public knowledge, but I'll go ahead and say
Oh, okay.
So,
well, whatever you can say. I don't want to.
Well, one of the people from the office got a hold of me at like 10:30 one night. It's like, hey, do you have the never open weight belt? And I sent him a picture of it, not knowing anything that's going on. and they were just doing a tour over there, and Carl Anderson was he was a never open weight champion. And he goes, yeah, he lost the belt, and we need it for a couple shows here. It's going to take like over a month to get a new one made.
Yes.
Turns out that Carl left it in his Uber on the way to the airport to Japan. And literally like 5 or 6 days later, they tracked the Uber driver, and he got the belt back when he got back in town. They used it for one show. The first show, you can see they used some other belt, and they put Bullet Club or something over it, and then they used it for one show. But they got the original one back for the next tour when he dropped it.
So I'm sorry if this is a dumb question. How did they know that you even had that belt? Like it just someone, I mean,
I'm friends with somebody. I'm friends with somebody that's in the office. He runs the office here in the States, and he knew I had a ton of New Japan belts. We talk all the time, and he's gotten a few belts from me. And cool. He knew I pretty much had just about every belt that New Japan had, which I do have every belt. And that's when he was like, hey, can you send it as fast as you can to Tokyo? We'll pay for it. And we did. And they sent it back about a month later with just a stack of programs from Wrestle Kingdom and stuff like that.
That's really cool. That's a great story.
So now I'm one of the only few people in the country, if not the only one, that has a ring used New Japan belt.
Yeah.
See, in the belt community,
oh,
we all know. I love it. We all know. I mean, in the belt community, we all know, and we kind of got an idea what each other has. Like back earlier in 2008, Mike DiBiase was the Texas heavyweight champion, and he was going to go on tour of Japan, and the Texas belt sucked that the promoter had. It just wasn't a very good belt. So David Marquez, that does wrestling from Hollywood, reached out to me and asked and brokered a deal for me. Asked me, did I have, because if in 2008, I mean, when it came to Texas belts, I was your guy.
Right.
So I found the one that I liked the least because,
Right.
And that was the one that was better than what they had for him to go to Japan with.
So
I mean, people know when they need something where to start looking. So
does that happen a lot? I mean, like that you get contacted about a specific belt? Do you think? I mean, I'm just curious. That's kind of neat.
Well, I'm saying I think it happens more than we know, but I mean, it's happened to Paige. It's happened to me.
Right.
And speaking of, we're talking about this belt community. AJ Martinez has joined us in the chat tonight, and AJ is another one that I've known since probably back in the Yahoo days or shortly thereafter, and through wrestling belts.
So AJ, what's your specialty of belts? I'm curious. We'll see what they say.
We'll see what he says. But some of my best friends in life have come through wrestling belts.
Well, yeah. I mean, you all got to be the trios champion.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Russ Miller's a hell of a guy. Now I got to go get mine too.
Yes, because if by chance you missed our episode with Russ Miller, he showed off their trios belt.
It's not a trios belt; it's a 6-man.
I apologize, 6-man.
We don't go by trios.
We don't go by trios.
I apologize. I do. But he showed off the 6-man title. If you want, you can tell the story because there's obviously some people that may not have heard, you and when Russ was on with us, the story behind these belts.
Well, Russ has been trying to get us to get 6-man belts for years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Russ. I mean, we all know he's a great guy, but he's got a really huge heart because he got tired of waiting on us to get in on it with him, and he ordered these belts. And
it's upside down. There you go.
And he ordered these belts, and it's slightly based on the world-class 6-man belt. It's different color scheme and much bigger.
Thank you.
But we're real proud of him, and I mean, when I opened that package up and saw what he had done, and he wrote me a real nice letter. And
same here.
And was really impressed that he can write. But
yeah, because he just said, "What's your address? I got something for you." Okay.
And Stephanie knew about it. He told Stephanie what he was doing. So she's good at keeping secrets from me.
So have you all been together?
She knows kayfabe better than most of the rest of us.
Right.
Have you all been together to have your picture taken with your 6-man belts?
Not
No,
yet.
not since.
Okay. I didn't think so. When did you all get your belts? It's been fairly recent.
About a year
hasn't it?
ago.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
that
gonna
long.
say. Well, what are y'all? When do you think you might get
I think it
together
was
to get a
last
picture?
Last summer. Well, Russ has a busy schedule. I mean,
He's doing some schooling and stuff.
Because we would have thought we'd all been together for WrestleMania last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we will soon. But Russ is busy going. He'll go to Charlotte, and we're not going to be in Charlotte this year. He didn't know that he went to Charlotte last year, not knowing about Nashville. He didn't know about StarCast, and it was too close together.
Right.
When I say Charlotte, we're talking about the old
Gathering.
NWA Legends. It's the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
T-Mark Productions does the Gathering now, and it's at the Hyatt Regency.
Is that a yearly thing?
I mean, at Hilton. Yeah, they do it every year.
Every year.
And that's how my group chat started. It was just coordinate, just so we could all coordinate where we were going to be, so we could all meet up.
Uh-huh.
And that group chat's still going today. That's how I met Jeff Jewett and Conrad Thompson and Mark Nielsen and Dave Hancock, and Justin Zimmerman, Jay-Z, the Chicken Champ.
Everybody knows Jay-Z.
But Jay-Z showed up. Jay-Z showed up to that convention just to meet us, and he was on his honeymoon. He got back, and they drove straight to that convention on his way home. So he on his honeymoon, he got to go hang out with his wrestling friends.
And I met Jay-Z up in WrestleCon in New York City.
Okay. Was he wearing his Bojangles championship?
Oh yeah.
When you met him,
Because
and everything.
I was the Whataburger champion, and we went out in the lobby and cut a big promo, and got a good little group around us watching us cut a promo on each other.
They are asking in the chat, what is the belt behind you? Ooh, I want to go to the Gathering. I want to look into that. I don't know. It says, what is that belt behind you? Gianni? Gianni? I hope I'm saying these names right. That's terrible.
Gianni.
Which behind me, because I got the one I showed earlier, which is the King of Pro Wrestling from New Japan. That one.
Okay.
Let's see if that's what they're saying.
You said your favorite's the Big Gold.
Yeah.
What was your favorite? Was the Big Gold your favorite growing up, or?
Now, probably growing up, the World Class Texas belt.
What was the belt that made you a belt mark?
Probably the Intercontinental title, because that's what I got my first belt made after. That or the TV title, NWA.
Okay.
Because I ordered that version from J-Mar and ordered the Texas belt from Reggie.
See, this is the only this belt I have. This well, you can't see it. I have the NWA Television Championship belt signed by Arn Anderson.
Oh, nice.
It's the only one because that's the only one I need because Arn signed it. So.
Yeah, I took whenever I met Arn, I showed him and Tully pictures of all my belts, and Arn was like, "Man, I envy you."
No doubt. I think I would like the 10 pounds of gold. If I were able to get another one, I think that's the one I would go for.
That's the one I showed earlier. It's next to my Big Gold.
Yes.
In my bedroom. I love that belt.
I know. I do too. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's got a lot to me. Is that yours?
That's my favorite.
Yeah. I'm with you. I like the, forgot. Who is it that wrote the books about them? Oh. The books about the.
Dick Bourne.
Yes, thank you. I knew it was Bourne, but I kept thinking Matt Bourne. That's not. That's not.
No,
That is very incorrect.
No, Dick Bourne. Dick Bourne's
I'm just
belt.
glancing at the TV, and Jeff Jarrett's holding up the tag team belt like he won it, but he didn't.
No.
Did he beat Dax?
Yeah, it looks like it. I wasn't watching.
Of course he did. You know why?
Huh?
No, you know why?
Why?
Because Jeff Jarrett's the greatest wrestler that ever lived that's active.
Man, I don't know.
Was he a
Dax is
horseman,
pretty
though?
Good. Oh no, he was not.
I think he was a horseman.
You're right, CJ. You cannot mention wrestling and not talk about Arn.
Where'd your mic go?
Sorry, I went to take a drink and then I saw CJ made a comment about Arn, and so then I started talking and I didn't. So that's funny.
Mike, you got any belts on the horizon? What's next for you?
Nothing at the moment.
Nothing at the moment.
Nope.
They're asking about belts for sale. Do either one of y'all have any belts for sale?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of them. I got some world-class belts for sale. I've got NWA TV. I've got an American belt, a couple AWA belts, a couple NWA US belts.
Nice.
No, Jared, I did not get in on that world-class belt auction because the last time I checked, it was at $14,000, and that's a little rich for my blood. I'd love to have it, and right now I don't think that's a bad price for it. I mean, even with the fees on it, I think it's a little over 16. But
is it like a silent?
No, it's on Heritage. It's a Heritage auction. It's ongoing for about like a month. It's an old, you know, like those gold belts the Rock and Roll Express used to have, like the cast ones.
Yeah.
All the territories kind of have belts like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the old WWF belt. And they found them they found it in Houston, and it was used in world class in Houston. It's the old American. It's like you can find it on Heritage Auctions if you put Texas Tag Team title, but it's actually an American Tag Team title. It's a 7-plater, and I mean there ain't no telling who held it. I'm sure Gino Hernandez held it. I'm sure the Von Erichs. I'm sure Bruiser Brody.
Man.
Well, that answers a question that me and Randy Dozier have had because I found 2 different pictures of cast belts. One of them showed Texas, but the tag team was in different spots, and we couldn't figure it out. So I guess that one says American, but there's pretty similar to the cast.
Stephanie's putting the kibosh on that right now.
Gianni, I don't know if you know it or not, but my wife is the producer of this show, and I enjoy being married to her, so we will not be putting a last-minute bid on that belt.
A $16,000 bid on that belt. I'm jealous of Gianni. They got to talk to Arn last Wednesday. That's awesome. I am in his graphic novel that's coming out next month. So I can't wait to see the drawing of me. So, but I am jealous that you got to talk to Arn. I hope he's
got
doing
Arn's
well.
phone number though, don't you?
I do, but I would never use it in a million years. I'm one of those kind of fans. Like I have it, but I would just be terrified ever to use it.
I've got a few phone numbers I'd never push send on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I was, after I call my husband on my deathbed, okay, bye, Arn. No,
I very seldom ever reach out to the ones that tell me to.
Yeah, I
just hate to bother people,
I know. I know I'm a fan. I don't want to be a weird fan. I'm already weird enough, so I don't want to do that.
I think it's weird though when somebody asks for my number and it's somebody in a star in one of the major promotions that wants a belt. I think like, wow, okay. Like somebody said, hey, Dustin Rhodes wants your number. Like, okay.
Yeah. So
he's got a promotion down in Austin. That's why.
Oh, cool.
He runs the Rhodes Wrestling Academy and stuff.
Okay, when is this gathering? I think I need to go. When is it?
Beginning of August. I think it's too close to the George Strait concert, so there was no way I could swing it, even if I moved vacation time around.
Man, that's
And we
right.
got a grandbaby coming right then too. So
I'll have
it
to
just
look at
wasn't
that.
doable this year. I'm going to have to get back to the gathering because there's
Yes.
a lot of our wrestling friends that do that every year, and we used to see them when we went every year.
Yes, man. I work with the school system. That's when we start. But I'm gonna think about it. First weekend of August. Okay, that's what Jared thinks. I'm going to look into this.
He's right.
I don't know because I have Top Guy Weekend June. I'm going to BIW in July 1st. I'm going to get to stay with the Pondwaters, and my sister and my niece are coming too. They're super excited. I don't know if I could swing a trip in August too. We'll have to. Man, that would be fun. Okay, I'm going to think about that. It says Johnny T Wrestling is full of information. He says you have played in many World Series of Poker events.
Yeah. I don't know about high stakes poker games, but I've done one live stream broadcast game for Poker House Dallas. But yeah, I wasn't. Me and him were both in the 2006 main event, made it to the second day. And we go, well, COVID stopped it, but we've gone together to the World Series of Poker several years. We went last year and coming up this year at the end of June, beginning of July.
How awesome. That'll be fun. My parents are really big into poker.
He's done a lot. I mean,
no kidding. What else? What else?
He's a pretty fascinating
wrestling.
And and I'm gonna tell you that Mike's SPW promotion was pivotal in me becoming a referee because I was in wrestling school.
Yes.
And then they started coming to PCW. PCW did a Friday night show called Uncut. And they would come in, and his promotion was doing an invasion angle with them. And they asked me if I'd be interested in being a heel referee. And I was very interested in being a heel referee. Well, they got me out there to referee a couple times and decided that maybe then Lance started in on me, maybe my path would be better as a referee. But if he wouldn't have come in, if there wasn't need for a heel referee, then I wouldn't have been pushed into the refereeing when I was.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, they didn't make me a heel referee, and the rest was history. But I'd still to this day love to be a heel referee.
Oh, it was fun. I did that for a while, and then I became a manager.
They had a woman that was learning to wrestle as well. Her name was Laura, Miss Laura, and when she came in, she body slammed me and started stomping on me. And she was wearing these, they weren't like stilettos, but they were those big heels.
Wedges or like a
clog almost. I mean, and she started playing the boots to me, and she got me like, I don't know if somebody finally told her to kick shoes off.
Oh.
She was very green and didn't know how to pull her kicks and stuff.
No, she wasn't pulling her kicks at all. And when she's barefooted, she wasn't pulling her kicks. But
so, Mike, again, Johnny T's giving us a lot of info. I did want to ask. You said you had managed. Who were you managing? You said you were a manager also. Who did you manage?
Well, we did the Overboys. That was the one for years, and then we had a group called Corman Inc. down in Lufkin. When we started the Overboys, we came from Tyler, and the area code is 903, so we were the 903 boys. And It just happened on one of the trips. We just started calling ourselves the Overboys because everywhere we went, we were over. So when we did the group, and we wore these bright yellow raincoat jackets, and everything we did was yellow. I had a chair that was spray painted yellow, and it just that was our color. And we were heels in NWA in Dallas, but it got to the point where we became faces because we were just having fun being ourselves, and people just liked us.
And the Overboys are the ones that went into the Hall of Fame with you, right?
Yes.
Is that what you said? You went in that together?
Yeah. Smear works in law enforcement, so we don't see him that much. He comes to town every now and then to visit his parents. Mm-hmm. It's a Z, not with a Y. Overboys, YZ, not S. But yeah, and then Joey lives about 10 miles from me. There you go.
I like it. That's cool.
There was a
Do you-
tag team out of New Orleans that used the S on there, and we had a little bit of heat for a while.
Oh. So I like Jared. Jared. You seem to be getting beaten up by a lot of women. Oh, the
Fans
crack.
love to see it. It's
crackhead.
about giving the fans their money's worth, and
That's
if they like
true.
it, that's what it's all about.
Overboys was also a punk rock band. Interesting.
They were.
I was trying to find a picture to show you. I found the picture, but it's not big enough. Is that
That's
Overboys?
That's group.
You think the Overboys came up with the punk rock band because Joey Corman's into that?
Yeah, that they when we kind of switched gimmicks for a while, been Hollow Mass. That was the name of their band too.
Yeah, I saw that. Hey,
Better
Justin?
late than never.
What's up, everybody?
Justin Davis, our host of this show. Justin, meet Mike Paige.
Hello, Mike.
He is a really interesting person and has done quite a bit in the wrestling business and has 71 belts.
I like his shirt. We are watching Rocky IV in history class this week.
If he dies,
he
he
dies.
dies.
You could tell it's the end of the year. You're watching Rocky IV.
That's right.
No.
Well, it's state testing week, so they're just kind of doing that to get through the week.
I understand that. We start next week.
I've actually got a Rocky. I've got a Rocky 2 shirt coming. No, Rocky 3. I've got it's the headline of the Philadelphia newspaper with Thunder Lips and Rocky.
Oh,
That was
cool.
Rocky 3. That was Rocky 3, not 2.
Yeah, 3.
You were what, 35, 36 around that time it came out?
I'm glad there's someone in here to make those jokes other than me. Usually I usually carry that whole burden, Mike.
But you missed trivia. We learned that I'm average size in Japan.
That's true.
And I'm a giant in the Philippines.
That's right. We did our trivia on the Great Baba because Mike, as I have found out after the fact,
Microphone.
so sorry. What I was saying is that we did trivia, but I picked All Japan, and he is a New Japan fan. So we all learned a little something with the trivia.
I would have known 0 answers, so it's a good thing I wasn't here for it.
You might have noticed some things. Did you know the Great Baba was a professional baseball player?
Yes, I did know that.
See, do you know what position?
I said he wasn't a catcher because the average size is 5'7" in Japan.
Yeah, he was a pitcher.
He was a pitcher.
First baseman was an option, I could say, because he could really stretch to get that ball.
Pondwater, much like me, the Giant Baba was a pitcher, not a catcher.
Yeah.
Gianni has 100 belts.
Yeah, Gianni's got a lot of belts.
Well, I think we need to see some of these belts one day, including the Rocky belt. That's cool. So do you have, that's an interesting, do you have any belts that's not necessarily wrestling related, Mike?
I've got one. The year I was number 500 in PWI, I got one that says PWI 500. And then I had one, which I ended up selling again, the Whataburger Championship. That the guy got it from me to give to his boss. He's the operations manager for the franchises of Whataburger here in Texas, and he wanted to buy it back from me and give it to his boss.
Oh, how cool!
I wanted one of those.
I do have.
I should have been the Whataburger champion.
I have one that my mom helped me design and did the translation. It's an Italian heavyweight belt.
Oh, neat!
You got the Pocket Aces Paige belt, don't you? Oh, that's the 500 belt.
Yeah, it's a 500 belt. Yeah.
Is it close? Can you get it down, or is it up high? I don't want you to.
No, I get it.
Okay, I'm just curious. That is cool. He was number 500 on the PWI 500. That, I mean,
We're gonna have to do a belt. We're gonna have to do a belt episode and invite some of our belt friends to bring their stuff in.
I like it. Oh, that's so cool. That's the one you designed, you said?
Yeah, with
That's
my mom.
absolutely beautiful.
And it's got, the different things from the Leaning
That's
Tower of
pretty
Pisa,
neat.
Venice, the Colosseum, and St. Peter's.
So I take it was your mom born in Italy?
She's Italian.
She's
We're
Italian.
Italian, and she's been to Italy several times.
Awesome.
And she teaches an Italian class to a bunch of people around here. So as I got with her on the translation and stuff.
That's really cool. Pondwater, do you have any belts that are not necessarily wrestling related?
I've got my Super Dave belt.
The
Is
Pope.
it close? Pope. I don't.
I love Super Dave in the Pope outfit. That's my favorite.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
There
I
it
ain't
is.
gonna lie.
There it is.
Oh my God. Oh Lord. Okay. I'm gonna do my best. That's a nice belt.
He brought that to my house. I think there's a picture going around of him holding that belt in front of the medic's picture that's in my old house.
That's nice. Who made that for you? Oh, I like them. I see the medics on the side. Is that the medics on the side, right?
Yep.
There's me as Dr. Phil Payne holding the SPW tag belts. And then I put the state of Texas on there.
Uh-huh.
And I put a bullet hole on the city of Dallas because I got a morbid sense of humor. And then we'll move it on over to this side plate, which is the medics.
Yes.
And then when I was refereeing for the NWA, and that was holding up the North American, when Tim Storm was the North American champion for that defense.
That's really nice. That's cool.
That is
It
nice.
was made by Leather Rebels. Peter Ellis. He doesn't do them anymore. Peter Ellis did. Thank you. Peter Ellis did a lot of. NXT belt. He was doing the NXT belts.
Uh-huh.
He did the NWA belt, the first NWA belt for Billy Corgan when he took over the NWA.
Neat. Well, oh, look at y'all.
Yeah, I printed those at work. I got 1, 2 framed and everything.
So with Sarah, did she have any wrestling training? Was she wanting to get in the business, or just dad is, you know what I mean? Like, was she just there because you were doing it, or?
Well, she did go to training. She went to training a little bit. I can't remember if she got hurt. I mean, she knew how to take a bump. She knew how to do the basics.
Cool. Well, I did what I asked, just especially for Pondwater and Mike, and Justin has good knowledge too about belts, but is there one belt that's out there now that is your favorite? Like, of all the belts out there now, which belt is your favorite? Do you think? Like, looking at AEW, WWF, which, I mean, WWE just revealed a new belt, right? Monday.
I would say the one that New Japan kind of retired last year, the V4, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, would probably be it for me.
But that's not the current, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy. I mean, it's easy to pick the retired ones. I mean, out of all the active ones, for me, it's the TNT belt, the one with all the stones. That's called the 1577 because it's got 1,577 stones on the main plate.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Justin, do you have a favorite?
The current belt, I mean, not really. I kind of like that TNT belt too, like Dave. I mean, I like the new WWE belt that just came out Monday. I think it's a big improvement over the other ones. So
let's talk about it.
So it's going to be. So it's taking the place of. So they're going to have two belts. It's a universal belt And a heavyweight, how does that go again?
This one's world.
The newest one is the world
The other
heavyweight
one will
belt.
be universal.
Okay. So which one is?
Combining those? I think they're combining his two into one. I think, but there hasn't been any specific saying that those two are going to be one or two. They haven't really said that.
I think they're just going to be one because I think the reason they're doing it is so he don't have to lose twice to get rid of the belts and maybe go on vacay or something like that. So I think they're going to unite that.
So which one is the higher one? Like universal or world? Like what? You know what I'm saying? Which one do you think is going to be the number one belt? The brand new one or the universal?
Roman's belt. Roman's
belt's going to stay the number one, whichever one.
That's where it has all the lineage, supposedly.
Okay, well that makes sense.
But they did this before, and they had the Undisputed, and then they did a world title again, which the first champion was Triple H, and it was the big gold.
Right. Yeah, I know. I do feel like we, like they always say, things that, come around, go around. It's like, okay, we're having a draft again. We talked about that last week. It's like, I'm just not sure how I feel about the W in the middle because you already have it on the sides. I don't know. I mean, it's a very pretty belt. I mean, it's a very nice. I do like it.
I think the W on the sides will be changed depending on who the champion is. I'm sure those are going to be removable side plates.
Those are your standard side plates. I mean,
right.
Stephanie's first impression of it was that she didn't like the side plates and she didn't really like the stones on it. And I said, but those are going to come off.
Right.
Because whoever wins, it's going to get their own side plates.
Right.
I like it better than having a nameplate.
I'll be interested to see if they try to attach it to any lineage. Like maybe they'll reattach it to the WCW heavyweight championship
because of the likeness, I guess you could say. And obviously, I mean,
and people don't like that W in the middle of it, but I mean, the other belt's a freaking W, so at least there's some belt around the W now,
right?
And I think that's 100% Triple H because he's such a fan of the big gold belt.
Yeah,
I think that Triple H is a low-key belt mark.
Yeah.
So we may get better designs with Triple H having some input in it. Now, I think somebody told me that the WWF's probably going to start using replica belts for ring belts. Like UFC, because UFC doesn't use what they would call real belts anymore. They use their mass-produced replicas. But let me say that these mass-produced replicas are extremely good. I mean, they're making them better than they used to.
For a while, AEW used their world title on TV. It was just a related one, and nobody knew.
And this TNT belt up here, if they'd have put backing on it, I wouldn't have known that it wasn't on real leather. I would have just thought it was stiff leather, but that's how good that replica is. And the plates on real leather, you could not tell that they're mass produced.
Interesting. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Do you think as a belt? Well, no, as a belt collector is what I was going to say. Like, is it a good thing that they mass produce so well that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
They know that the Pakistan belt makers are making a killing out of it, and they want to put out a good enough product that they can take that market share.
Right.
But also somebody probably works for WWE now that's one of us that gets that there is a demand for the classic championships and for quality championships. And I don't think it's so much to put the kibosh on Pakistan. I think it's to open revenue streams, and they're heavily involved with Fanatics now.
Right.
So I think Fanatics is really driving this.
I want to say I agree with something Jared Weiss said in the comments. The W in the middle is too dark. You almost can't tell what it is. And I kind of agree with that. Unless you really get up there and look at it, it's kind of hard to tell what that middle part is.
It looked better online, like on the shop store. Like, I'm with you. I thought that W was too dark, but I think on the TV, I think it might have just been the lighting or something because when you see it in like WWE shop, it it comes off as being more readable. So I don't know if that
and
was
when
a
you see
lighting
these
thing.
things in person, they come off a lot different. Some belts just don't photograph well.
Right.
Like that Ric Flair Legacy belt, I thought it was going to look like ass, and then I got it, and it's one of the best I mean, it's a great replica. I mean, it's not a replica; it's an original, but I mean, it's mass produced. So it's just, I mean, the quality that they're doing. I mean, you take the WWE, the United States belt. Man, that thing's as heavy as a ring used belt, and it's. I mean, when you look at it, if it had real leather on it, you couldn't tell. The leather is the tell. It's just the technology now, and you've had people for years saying that they buy. And I'm not crapping on buying from Pakistan because I got 75 belts, and the majority of them, that's where they came from. Not all of them, but most of them. And I wouldn't have as many belts as I was if it wasn't for buying them that way. Buying them from other collectors and ordering them from Pakistan. So, but I don't think, I mean, but everybody said that they didn't have them. And now you can get, now, I mean, like they can't put the WWF logo on them because of the Panda. But I mean, the shop belts are good quality with accurate artwork. I mean, they got the new Crumb Rind. They got the new Crumb Rind Big Gold they sold at WrestleMania. It's going to be coming out. I think it'll be available in May. It does not have the WWF logo on it. I mean, it's the closest thing you're going to find to Conrad's belt. But they're doing that because there's a demand for it.
True.
And I've been told that you can put that belt up next to Classic Shields. The plate, you can put the plates up, the quality of the plates up with it. And you can do it for a whole lot less money because I mean I think they were selling for $400 at WrestleMania. They got a WCW belt now, the WCW 92 that Ron Simmons won. And they can put WCW on it. So I mean that's there's your replica there.
How cool.
Yeah, they're starting to go back and do more classic belts. I went on there to the Shop Zone the other day, and there's 3 pages of belts on there now.
Yeah. So I mean, they make the blue Big Eagle. It doesn't have the WWF logo on it. It's got the W on there.
Right.
But still, I mean, it's a belt that back in the day when you could get belts. I mean, you could get belts legitimately, from the original makers.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get, like we had my first Winged Eagle belt didn't say WWF, it said FWF, but it looked close enough that if you looked at it, you had to really look at it to see that it was FWF instead of
right.
WWF. The way they did, that was the alternate logo so you didn't pay the logo fee. You could get the WCW belt and it would say WOW instead of WCW. Right. And I remember that Milliken got in a little crap because people were taking black paint and changing that O into a C.
Oh,
And then and WWE was getting hot about it.
Yeah.
Because back then, when the bootlegs popped up, not everybody was making belts, so they only had a couple people to go blame for them.
Right.
And WWE legal is they're still like bulldogs, but back then, I mean, I've got a good friend that just put a 10, 15 second clip on a bulletin board, but it was WWE footage, and he got a cease and desist from legal, and they were wanting a settlement.
Oh.
So
from your AOL days.
We need to plan and all get together, and we'll get 5 or 6 of we'll pick 5 or 6 collectors and invite them to come on and show off their collections and talk about it.
Heck yeah! I think Gianni with 100 some odd belts.
Well, he's right. Ben Walker has an incredible collection, and there's a guy I follow on TikTok that's, I mean, sometimes the way these things are displayed too are impressive. But
yeah,
I mean, I got a friend named Javier Cortez that's got a hell of a collection. And we go back. Me and Javi go back over 20 years. But thanks to Pakistan, he was able to reassemble his belt collection. Because some of us, life happened. We got divorced. Belts had to go. I had over 40. I had over 40, and then I didn't have but one, and it was the John Cena Figures Inc. John Cena spinner. Actually, it was two because I had the $1 million belt too. But all my real belts, they were gone.
Really? Oh.
But hey,
It
the story
happens.
has a happy ending. I'm up to 75.
That's right. And you have Stephanie.
Yeah. And with Stephanie being a belt fan too, it really makes it great.
No kidding. Dustin King. So from back in your AOL days, I'm assuming that you all have seen the belt collectors group expand. Are you seeing a lot more new people, or are they casual? Like, not everybody's going to have 70 plus belts. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, are you
Yeah.
seeing where more people are collecting, or like that? Like, I have one, and I doubt very seriously I may have two. Before my lifetime's over. But are you seeing the belt collecting fans or people is getting to be a bigger group?
I think so,
Oh,
because there's so many Facebook groups out there, just for belts. And then you can look at AEW shows, Impact shows, WWE. You can just, when they pan the crowd, how many people do you see with belts? Now, some of them are shop belts, obviously, but
Right.
you can also see some that this doesn't have anything to do with WWE, and they're sitting out in the crowd.
Right.
Heck, I refereed a show in Greenville, Mississippi a few weeks ago, and I bet you out of 150 people in attendance, there was 6 wrestling belts there.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of fact, I sold a wrestling belt at that show, and I take wrestling belts for my gimmick table, and I'll charge you $5, and you pick a belt and get your picture taken with it.
Right.
And that's always real popular at these shows. But I had somebody come up and bought a belt from me. And I think that was due. There's so many people running around that show with belts on their shoulders. And I mean, I don't know. There's just something about a wrestling belt. You can throw it over your shoulder and parade around the house like a badass. I know you've done it, Amy. I guarantee you, Amy put it on and had a house coat on, and she walked in front of her husband and she undid that house coat and put her hands on her hips. And she's look at her. I know.
You know what? I can honestly say I have not put it on. I've never put. Now, Gianni, I will say this. I have the same belt. I have 2 belts. They're the exact same. One is signed by Arn, one is not. So I just still count it as one. I would definitely get a 10-pound of gold belt. But you know what? Maybe I have to think about that. I'll see.
You want me to tell you what to do about getting the 10 pounds of gold?
Maybe.
Figures Inc.
Figures Inc. No.
No.
I'm gonna give them a free plug.
Oh.
And Russell put it in the chat if he's still here. But if you want a good NWA belt, go to Fandu. And get you a 10 pounds of gold on real leather.
Okay.
And it is the best version of that's been made. They have 2 versions. They've got the Oliver's version that's got England on the side plate, and then they got the original version.
Okay.
You go get the original. It's Fandu, Fandu. It's going to have the laced leather, and it's going to be worth every penny you pay for it. I saw one at WrestleCon.
I did too.
I've got one made by Milliken that's excellent, and I almost wanted one of those Fandus. Because I keep it on the Flair wall, and I let Flair autograph the front of it, and I got a lot of other champions autographed on the back.
Right.
But that Fandu belt is that nice. Like, I felt like I was missing out not owning that Fandu NWA belt. They were using one on their television show until Tyrus had a bigger one made.
Yes.
And now I'll assure you that's the nicest NWA belt that's been around in years. Because Ron Edwardson from Red Leather is one of the premier belt makers in the world.
Awesome. Okay.
And he made it a little bit bigger for Tyrus.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just there you go. That's my, somebody tell fan do, I put them over in the middle because that's if I didn't have a belt and I was going to get NWA belt, I'd get the fan do. And I'm not taking away from any of the Pakistani makers on it. There's a few that are good, and then but not everybody gets the font right.
Right.
And sometimes they just don't, the font looks off to me.
Uh-huh.
And since I have such a passion for that belt,
we'll talk, Gianni. Justin, do you have any belts?
No, I'm.
I know you have figures, but I didn't think you did, but I wasn't positive. So if you had a belt, which one would you? We're gonna get. What would you pick?
No one's ever put me over, so I never won a belt. What would I pick? Oh, for sure the Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect Intercontinental belt.
That is nice. Is that the belt you were talking about earlier, Mike?
Yeah, I've got a good version of that.
Ooh. Uh-oh, Dave's going to go. Are you showing us something, Dave?
I am.
Oh, that's nice.
It's beautiful. That's my favorite belt ever, for sure.
You know why I got one?
Why?
Because Kerry Von Erich held it.
Oh.
Yep. It's my least favorite Intercontinental title of all of them.
But he held it.
That's why I got one.
I'm
a fan of the Oval IC. The Attitude Era.
Yeah. I say that, but I've owned one, and it's a lot nicer in person than some belts don't take pictures well. But in person, I used to hate the Big Eagle until I had one, and now that's one of my favorite belts.
The Big Eagle was the first real belt I ever held. Because I had the Figures Inc. belts, and I thought I was Billy Badass on top of the world. And then I paid $10 for a picture taken. They were raising money for charity at WrestleMania. And they go in there and they let you hold the real belt. You pay $10 to do it. And I couldn't believe how heavy it was. And I mean, it blew me away to actually hold the real one.
Uh-huh.
And man, it was a Polaroid. It was an actual Polaroid. They took the picture and then here you go.
Right.
The Polaroid Kids is a camera that took the picture and kicked it out the front, and then it would develop while you watched it.
Then you shook it like a Polaroid picture.
That's right. That's what he was talking about. Was it Andre 3000?
That was a great way to make money at indie shows. $5 for a Polaroid with your favorite superstar, and then they would sign it.
Yeah.
I bet, like you said, having your picture taken with a belt, I bet that would be kind of, fun.
I'll take one on that show. I took the big gold belt. I took the WWE United States belt, and I took the Mississippi belt. And I don't know. Yeah, I did. The WWE champion, the WWE belt always, the United States belt, the current belts always get more people taking pictures with them rather than the real ones. It don't matter which ones I take. And I used to have the White Intercontinental, the most recent one that they'd come out with. I had one of those. It was a great belt too, by the way. And we took that one night, and that's the only belt they wanted their picture with. So it's funny. The kids today want to take pictures with what's on TV. I would have figured. Now I sold the Mississippi belt, but I would have figured the big gold belt. I've taken the NWA belt. I always take if we're in Louisiana, I'll take Louisiana and the Mississippi. I've taken world class belts, and but if I got just a shop belt from WWE, that'll be the one they want to do. Bobby has a Polaroid.
He also uses a ham radio. You
beat me to the punchline. Don't get ahead of me, Justin.
I just saw the finish to Jeff Jarrett's match tonight. That was pretty cool little finish spot they did.
No spoilers. I want to see it.
Yep.
There's an idea. There's an old picture out there of me somewhere that I was laying on the floor covered in belts, and everybody thought I was naked under there. And I wasn't. I was wearing khaki shorts. Bobby, come and visit. Come and visit. I won't charge you anything.
Yeah, Bob, you're in Oklahoma, right, Bobby?
I hope y'all enjoy our producer because I'm probably going to fire her after this.
Oh, I think she has added so much to the show.
If you fire that producer, your 75 belts will be down to about 12 belts.
That's a good point.
Especially since she likes belts.
Because you think I'd get to keep 12. Well, guys, we've said it all.
We've said too much.
Way too much.
But you know what we haven't said? We haven't said, if you have enjoyed the show, go to the give us a 5-star review, right?
Please.
Go and click on our YouTube page and subscribe.
Please. Right? Pretty please. Maybe we'll need to have a contest if we can get to 100 subscribers. Wow, we'll have a contest. We get to 200 subscribers. Watch our socials this week. I may announce the contest.
Ooh.
Mike, you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
I got nothing to plug now that I haven't already plugged. Except Rush is a bitch, you know. We'll say that over and over again.
Then, now, and forever.
Russ, hashtag Russ is a bitch.
No, Terry, we want real people. I create new accounts to get your numbers up. No. We want. We appreciate the sentiment, right?
Yes, Terry. Yes, Terry. Please.
Follow us over at the Twitter gimmick. Follow us over at the Twitter gimmick, PWD Show.
Thank you, Gianni.
Dave, you got anything to say before we go?
I will be there in WrestleCon. I will.
Are you appearing or you're going to be there?
I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I'm not going to have a table or anything yet.
Oh, darn. Terry, look at him.
If you're in Mississippi, May 6th, Ellisville, Mississippi, I'll be refereeing for SWA.
And you got some BIW shows coming up, don't you, Dave?
BIW is not coming back until June. We'll be Mother's Day weekend. We'll be Saturday, June 17th. We're going to be in Fountain Hill, Arkansas. June 18th, we'll be in West Monroe. And then July 1st, we'll be back at City Auditorium in beautiful Vicksburg, Mississippi.
That's right. That's where I'm coming. The beautiful Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Maybe we'll grab a couple wrestlers and we'll do a live podcast.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Maybe we can do some interviews while you're here.
Well, we want to thank all of you guys that joined us in the comments and came along for the ride with us tonight. Sorry I was late.
What are you drinking? I see you drinking some like Crown and Coke or something.
Pretty much. Evan Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an Evan dude.
Yep. And sorry I was late, everyone. I was watching the most boring high school softball game of all time. Actually, I was umpiring it. It's not like I was watching it. I didn't do much.
Speaking of high school sports, let me shut you down just a second. Time out. I'm a proud pawpaw.
Uh-huh.
And my granddaughter, Maddie Shaw, she went to district in track. She's 7th grader. She's only 7th grader competing.
Awesome.
She's competing against 8th and 9th graders. And she's gotten better every week of the season. Before this year, she'd never thrown a shot put. She'd never thrown a discus. And the week before district, she came in 4th place in both events. And the only three that beat her were from some of the bigger private schools here in Mississippi: Jackson Prep, Jackson Academy, MRA, and they were older kids. And then the next week she went to district, and she took second place in the shot put, and she took first place in the discus. That kid is on beast mode. And then this week at their assembly, she got the coaches award, and she got another one. The coaches award is the one that, which award and back? The Cougar Award in basketball. They're the Cougars.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought Teppy got the Cougar Award.
That's my Cougar then, now, and forever.
If you saw earlier, our producer, Sister Teppy, she put up a hashtag humble brag on that last story from.
We're real proud of our granddaughter. She's only in 7th grade.
We know that. Sister Teppy. She is younger than Pondwater Dave, she said. I mean, that's obvious.
You're right, though. That's wonderful because, I mean, in 7th grade already doing that, I mean, she's can only get better. So that's really cool. I
told Steph I'm going to start sending video to her. I'm going to start sending videos over to Alabama just so they get on. So she'll be on their radar.
I honestly thought you would say that you were going to send pictures of Carrie Von Erich throwing discus because I just knew that was where you were coming from. I really
don't even know if there's any footage of Carrie throwing discus out there. You would think there is.
I would think so because I would think so too.
There wasn't no camera phones in 1980.
Right.
You had to shoot the film.
I was going to say, Dave went out there and watched him practice where he didn't record it. So
that's probably true. You don't think they did any kind of, I guess I was thinking more at the U.S. trials or something. They would have something, but maybe not. Because didn't he go to the U.S. trials?
It depends on who you listen to. They say that Olympic boycott stuff was all kayfabe. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Brother.
Well,
he was good enough. He was good enough. I mean, he did legitimately set the Southwest Conference records.
Yeah.
I have been to some trials in the U.S., but it was a different type, I think.
He did some of those too.
Are we getting out of here, everyone?
Yes, yes.
All right. For Mike Paige, for the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Club, Miss Amy Vaughn, for the great Pondwater, brother Pondwater, and myself, Justin Davis, I am saying take care of yourself and each other. So long, everyone.
Bye.
Good night. Thanks for joining us.